Hi, and welcome to CryptoBiography. I'm your host, Brandon Starr, and this is actually going to be another check-in one because I was still sick until about, kind of midweek. Then I had to take my son off to college once I got better, and I would like to talk about that. Also, let's face it, I mean, even though I'm at home, there's just something about this lock-in that is just very sort of enervating and very like stressful, and because I'm not able to like get back into my normal habits, it feels it's difficult for me to force myself to write. I think I'm getting better though. I did get a bit of a story started, not enough to actually read today, but I got the first little bit of the story done, and I know roughly where it's going and so on. So next week, I will have a story. So, I would like to talk about taking my son up to college because we're in Washington, but we're really close to Portland, Oregon. So, we're in the very southern end of Washington State. And my son is going to college in Bellingham. And Bellingham is north of Seattle. So, that's like a 4-hour drive with no traffic. And usually there's traffic, but with the stay-at-home order for the state of Washington, traffic is very light. So we took off that morning, and I brought, nitrile gloves because I knew I would have to get gas probably twice because I didn't think I had a full tank, and I didn't. I needed to get gas to make sure we could get all the way there. And then I wanted to get gas, roughly at the turnaround point when I drop him off so that I don't have to think about it again on the way back. Like, I don't want to be like just south of hitting home, just south of like Olympia, where there's not going to be another gas station for, however many miles, and then realize, oh, I'm getting really low and have to stress about it. So I have the nitrile gloves. I have some wipes so that I can, wipe down the pump. Even though I have gloves, I'm still going to wipe down the pump because I can't, it's hard to properly, cleanse yourself if I got dirty in any way. So I brought wipes, and we took care of that. Got gas, headed up there, and yeah, the traffic was not as light as I was expecting. Actually, it was light, and it never got heavy enough that we were really slowed down in any significant way, even in the heart of like downtown Seattle, even in the corridor between Tacoma and Seattle. Both of those, that whole stretch is very very heavy usually. And yeah, it was very light, even though it was kind of midday on a weekday. It was odd. I mean, it felt odd, but not as odd as I thought it was. Like, the traffic was light, but it was not as light as I was expecting. I was expecting, like just the side of Walking Dead. You know what I mean? Like, I thought it was going to be like deserted stretches of roads, occasional, trucks, occasional cars, service vehicles of various kinds, and nothing else. No, it could almost pass for like a normal day. It was light traffic, but it almost felt normal. Like, there was never a time when there was not a car in front of me. There was never a time when there was not a car behind me. There's definitely, I was passing things all the time. People were occasionally passing me. It felt like going up there like on a weekend day. You know what I mean? Like light traffic, but not like abnormal. It was very odd because Washington's been hit very hard, and we've had the lockdown, for a while. I mean, people should be staying in place, and I assumed, like people would have to do things around town, get groceries, and do doctor's appointments or whatever, go to their job if they're essential, all that stuff. I just didn't think that people were doing long-term, like long travels, like I was. I mean, I had a very special reason for doing what I was doing, and other than that, I've been I've been off the roads. I haven't really. I mean, my car's been out of the garage, like basically like once a week. It's been kind of nutty. So it was strange to see like there's like all these cars, like regular cars. There's a lot of trucks too, which is good because we don't want the economy to completely, disintegrate. And it's good that it's apparently not. But there's a lot of cars, which is just felt kind of strange. Like it was light, but it wasn't as light as I thought I was expecting, or really kind of feel it should be. Like not everyone could be taking their child back to college on midday on a Thursday, especially since like his college, he wanted to get there like a couple days early to do some things. So because it's kind of nightless, he's in his dorm room. We get there, we have a we mostly just listen to our own little music and whatever. I'm listening to books on tape and whatever, or audio books now they're called now. And but we talk some too about like what it's going to be like and what he's going to be planning for, what I'm going to be planning on doing, all that stuff. And we get there and it's like there's a few people there. There's a few people like dropping off, but there's other people like picking up. Like they're not going to be there this quarter. They're just going to go back home. A lot of them, because Seattle's such a huge area, a huge city, and it's nearby, and Tacoma's big, and that's nearby, and all that. A lot of people can live at home, and then if the campus opens up or if they feel safe or whatever, they can very quickly get back to campus. Like they could move back, they live an hour or hour and a half away at most. Even if they're, sort of south of Seattle, it's like 90 minutes, 60 minutes. It's not a big deal at all. It's not like me where it's like a 4-hour drive each way, plus. So, we get there. Some people are like leaving. A few people are coming in. Yeah, my son takes his stuff up. I'm being very careful, so I don't enter his dorm room at all. And but he didn't have that much stuff. It was mostly just clothes and some food. That was basically all. Because it's like, even though it was only a couple of weeks ago, we really didn't expect that he might have to, that there was at least the possibility that they would do a total lockdown and he might not even be able to go back to campus, which would have sucked because his computer's in his dorm room still. And we would have had to share my computer, and I'm on my computer all the time. That's all I do because I'm a streamer. I write, I podcast, and also it's also my main source of entertainment. I don't even have TV anymore, not regular TV. I don't even have Netflix really anymore. I just do YouTube and do other stuff. So sharing my computer, I would do it obviously if he had to for his classes, but it would be incredibly awkward. So yeah. So he goes up there and he's like, it's like a lot of people have, like, they've taken their names down off the door, off the doors and stuff. And yeah, it's like, it's like going to be half. And including his own room, because he had one roommate, a kid named Mason, and he lives in Seattle. And Mason's just staying in Seattle this quarter. Like, and all of his stuff is gone. So he took his computer. It's all gone. So yeah, so it's very weird for my son. So he's gonna be by himself in his room. But he at least he has the possibility of with maintaining some intelligent social distancing. He has the possibility of taking a walk with friends or doing other activities that you can do for with a little bit of distance. Maybe just talk, even play Dungeons and Dragons perhaps. I don't know. That's become one of his favorite hobbies. So he did that a lot the last couple quarters. Yeah, couple quarters. But I don't know how much he's going to get in this time because I don't know. He's been doing D&D online like during spring break, and depending on who's still around, I guess they might have to do it that way still this quarter. But anyway, I hope, but I still think it's probably still valuable for him to be there. There's still like certain resources that he can't really get here, and if he has like issues, he can hopefully see someone, as opposed to just doing everything online. So even though it's a little nutty, we're still gonna pay to have him on campus, and he'll take his classes, and hopefully he does well. And I don't know. And then on the way back, I drove back, and it was just me, and it felt very weird. Like when I first dropped him off at college, because this is his freshman year, so it wasn't that long ago. It was last fall, and it did feel a little odd, like driving back, because we had to take the car up. In between, he's been taking the train, and he was supposed to take the train spring break, but the train got canceled. And then, yeah, and on the way back from that one, it's like I feel very wistful. I was like, oh, he's on his big new adventure in life, and he's off to college and gonna probably do biology, but definitely figure out kind of like what he really wants to study, what he really wants to kind of like aim for after college and all that. And but it was mostly, it was a little lonely. The loneliness didn't really hit until a little later. It's like after it took like a week or two once I was by myself, and it's like, oh, okay. That's what it's like to really live in a house and like not have anyone else around. Like we have 2 cats, and that's all the company I have. Yeah, and but on the way back that time, it was more like happy for him more than anything else. At least that's how I remember it. And this time it was like, oh boy, we are really separated, because like he can't take the train, and I wouldn't want him to take the bus, and I'm not sure the buses are the Greyhound type buses. I'm not sure how they're running right now, and even if he could take that, I wouldn't want him to. So it's like, so it feels very separated, because so if I need to get him, I have to, if he needs to come down, I have to go get him, and it's another 8 hours of driving, probably more like 8.5, 9, whatever. So I'm back home, and it just feels very strange. It's like I can't go to the gym, and that was always how I start my day. Like I had gotten in really pretty reasonably good shape. I was overeating, so I've actually been gaining weight, which is unfortunate. But really, I've been in pretty good shape, because I've been doing weights and aerobic machines and all that good stuff. And I did it basically every day, like probably average 6 to 6.5 days a week, like literally almost every day. And now I haven't been there in weeks, and I'm not even sure it's open. I'm not sure. It probably isn't. But even if it is, I'm not going, because I have asthma, and if I get this virus in my lungs, it could be really bad. So I'm just stuck at home. And the weird thing is, like, it doesn't feel like time freed up. It doesn't feel like vacation. It doesn't feel like anything good. It's very, I don't know. It's kind of put me a little adrift. So I think I've kind of changed up my schedule. Like I'm streaming a little differently, so that I can like better take advantage of the time and the fact that the internet is really, really busy during the middle of the day. Like sometimes my computer slows down and stuff. It's been a little nutty in terms of that. And so I've got to find a time, though, where I can just write, because I usually write at night, but that's sort of like a streaming time now. So am I going to write in the morning, or am I going to write like in the afternoon between like the 2 stream sessions that I now have planned? I don't know. So, and I've always written at night before, so or I could just do it way late at night, like after I stream, and then just do it like after midnight, basically, right after midnight. I could do that. It wouldn't be the easiest thing in the world, because that gets a little, that gets a little too late. Anyway, so yeah, this whole thing has kind of put me, I'm realizing more and more it's put me a little adrift. I was very happy to actually see my girlfriend in the flesh, still maintaining distance. We were like wearing masks and stuff. It was like a little over the top, but it's not, though. It's what you got to do. And it's just been very, very strange. So So I do have a little bit of a story started. I'm sure I will be able to flesh it out this week, and I will have a story next time. So I will make that as a promise, and that way it always helps me to, like, make a definite statement like that, and we'll go from there. So I hope you're doing well. I mean, I'm still keeping tabs, as I mentioned on last show. Kranatoka has been keeping up on his daily reports, and those have been kind of fun. And then Fibro Jedi is still having a lot of difficulties because of the follow-up. He had that, he has pain all the time because he has fibromyalgia, of course. That's why he's Fibro Jedi. But, he had that seizure, and the seizure has caused all kinds of other issues and pain. Like, he pulled some muscles, and he's, in just nasty, nasty pain, like, almost all the time. The kind of pain that I can't even imagine, because it's like pain for him, and he's lived with pain for years now. So, still wishing him the best. I think things are getting slightly better for him, just because, time has passed since the time he had the seizure, and apparently I don't think he's had another one or anything, and they're being very careful. So yeah, there's a lot of crazy. Everyone's gonna have a coronavirus story, man. This is gonna be like one of those times in history where, like, everyone's gonna be like, oh yeah, what'd you do during the quarantine time in 2020? So I hope you're well. Hope your family's well, and I will have a story for you next time. And thanks for listening. Words and music, copyright 2020, CryptoBiography LLC, all rights reserved. And if I was doing the fiction today, I would say characters and events are fictional, fictionalized, or satirical, but it's nonfiction today, so have a good one.